over 45,000 people in the UK are conceived through sperm donors. 25-year-old Tink only found out as a teenager that she is one of them. Tink wants to test her DNA to learn about her ancestry and find out if she might have any half-brothers or sisters.
Hello, okay.
How are you?
I'm okay, you all right?
Thank you ever so much for saying I can come
round.
Oh, look at your house. Isn't it beautiful?
Oh, thank you. I'm in college at the minute.
What are you studying?
Photography.
No way.
Yeah.
Are these all yours on the wall?
Yeah, they're all mine.
Oh my goodness, look at the kids. I think they're gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
So you were conceived via a sperm donor.
Yeah.
When did you find all this out?
I was 17. I was about 6 months pregnant. And my dad called me downstairs. So I sat down and I was just sitting on my phone. He was like, no, I really need to tell you something. And I was like, all right, okay. And then he just said that he had a vasectomy. They tried to reverse it to have me, but it just didn't work. So he then said, oh, we use a sperm donor. And I just burst into tears. Didn't know what to do.
So up until that point,
I had no idea.
you thought that was your dad, your biological father?
That was the man I was living with, yeah. Thought that was my dad. It was just surreal. But it made sense to me, in a way.
Lois a kiss.
When I was growing up, I had 2 siblings who were from my dad's previous marriage. I wasn't an only child, but I felt like an only child because they were both a lot older. I felt like the black sheep in a way. I remember we had a family get-together once in my dad's, and like everybody was having photos together saying like, oh look, you look really alike. And I was just standing there like, I didn't know what to do. It was horrible. Everybody looked like each other and everybody was related to each other, and then it's just me.
Would you like to know who the sperm donor is or was?
I want to find out if I've got siblings, and I want to find out, where I come from. But I just feel like my dad is my dad, and I don't want to upset him at all.
I can sort of relate to not wanting to upset the man who raised you.
Yeah.
Because actually the guy who raised me isn't my biological father.
Yeah.
And you sort of feel a sense of loyalty to them.
Definitely.
I'm really grateful for everything you did, but there's just something that I
need to do.
Need to do.
Yeah. I just need to. It's my last little missing puzzle.
When you found out that you had been conceived via a sperm donor, what's the first thought that pops in your mind? Like, how do you digest that information?
I don't know, because I think it's just a really weird term anyway. Like, you're a sperm donor child. It just sounds clinical. Some random person who was kept in a freezer. Like, I don't... That's all I know. I just think it's really weird because I was made in a tube.
So, in an ideal world, what would you like to happen? How would you like to see this play out?
Find a sibling, we get on. That would be amazing. Just to find out where I come from. Have I got any heritage in different countries? I don't know. If there's other people there, then it takes away the feeling of, well, I was just born in a clinic.
So what do you know at this point?
All I know is that he was a student from Leeds, and that's all I was ever told.
No name?
Nothing.
No idea of how old he was?
Nothing.
After years of waiting, Tink finally feels ready to take the next step to know more about her donor dad's heritage. Chori will be leading the search.
Hello. It's lovely to meet you.
And you?
I think you're the first donor-conceived person I've met.
Really?
Well, that I know of.
So it's not very spoken, it's not spoken about. I feel like it's quite a taboo subject because you could sort of get away with not telling anybody. Because you would never know.
So how can we help you? What would you like to find out?
So I'd like to find out if I've got half-siblings. because it'd be nice to have someone to relate to, because I've never met anybody else who's donor conceived.
How important is it for you to know about your genetics?
I think it's really important because like when I was pregnant with the kids and they asked, is there any diseases on that side of the family, or I didn't have a clue. I think it's a big part of you because it's you.
Okay, so there's ways that genetics can help you, and actually this is a relatively new area, so let's show you how this works. Here's Mum. This is sperm donor Dad. And there's you. So you are going to have got half of your DNA from your dad. If he's donated sperm to somebody else and has had another child, on average, you're going to share about a quarter of your DNA. So what we do is we take your DNA and they look to see where it matches other people from particular parts of the world to see if that can tell you something about your ancestry. And we're also going to get in touch with a couple of organizations. One of them is the Donor Conceived Register. So this is for people who know that they're donor conceived and who would like to be able to find other half-sibs. So one of the really big things about the Donor Conceived Register is obviously the more people who join it, the more likely it is that people are going to be able to connect with half-siblings and things like this. And I would really recommend it as a first step.
Shuri and our team will now test Tink's DNA to see what they can learn about her biological father's ethnicity. Tink will also be getting help from organisations that work with people like her to try to find their half-siblings. One of those is the Donor Conceived Register. Lead counsellor Patricia will be helping Tink find any potential matches.
Anyone born before 2005 as such will probably struggle to find any links because, you know, before then all donations were anonymous.
Tink, she's saying, for me, it's not really about finding out who the sperm donor was necessarily, but have I got siblings, like half-siblings out there? What would have to be in place for her to be able to find out that?
It depends if her half-siblings out there know they're donor conceived.
Right, they might not even know, because she didn't know a few years ago.
That's right. They might not be on the register, and one of the reasons they're not on either of the registers is because they don't know they're donor conceived. Until about 2005, there was a culture of secrecy where patients were told, well, nobody needs to know, your child will never know. And at the time, nobody could have predicted the advancements of DNA testing. So she might not find anybody now. And we have people on our register that have been with us for years, and then suddenly there's a link that comes out of nowhere. So it can happen anytime. Doesn't mean that at the moment, if she hasn't got any link, there won't be some in the future.
Only a small percentage of donor-conceived children have signed up to the national registers to find their half-siblings. So for Tink to get a match, it will be a matter of luck. It's been 8 years since Tink found out that she was donor-conceived. Her relationship with her father has never been the same since.
Looking for my biological family, I think is really upsetting my dad. He's supporting me doing it, but I feel like I feel like I'm upsetting him a lot, and that's breaking my heart.
What you got, Tink?
We thought we were doing the right thing. As far as I was concerned, Tink was mine, and I was happy.
Blow us a kiss.
I was the person that protected her, that gave her the love, looked after her. I was someone special to Tink, and then I told her that I wasn't the biological father. I felt I destroyed something totally. I felt because I told her that she wouldn't love me anymore. At the time, I felt something changed between you and I.
Did you?
I
As in
don't-
my behaviour?
Yes, there's a little bit of a standoff. So when I greet any of the children, or you, I always greet you with a kiss. Sometimes you always put...
I don't like being touched or kissed or anything.
Yeah, but you was never like that before.
Was I not?
No, and that's the
then.
only thing that changed.
No.
And
But
would like
I
to
wanted
do
you to know that I'm not looking for a dad because you're my dad.
that. Yeah.
I've always said your dad is the person who brings you
Yeah.
up. But I just don't know where I come from. So I haven't got a clue. I just feel like I've come from a freezer. It just doesn't feel natural, so it's weird for me, that's all.
It may be weird for you, but at the time, because we wanted a baby, and I couldn't, there's a happiness about that. And I'm sorry you feel like that. I really didn't know that we would be sitting here 25 years later trying to figure something out because you feel broken. And I think until you find that something, or even if you don't, I think there'll always be something missing. It's like as if you're not whole.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you need to find that something to make you whole. And I think the thing I can do is support you. I need to give you all the support possible to try and look for that.
Until now, the only thing Tink has known about her sperm donor is that he was a student from Leeds. The results of Tink's DNA test are back, and she's meeting Churi to find out the truth.
I have no idea what she's going to come out with, so I'm quite nervous. It's going to change my life in a big way, regardless.
Hey! Oh, Tink, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
How you feeling?
All right. Nervous. Very nervous. Might sound strange to other people, but for me, it's very life-changing.
Totally, no, it's monumental. All right, Tink, well, I'll wait here. Good luck,
Okay,
you'll be
thank you.
brilliant. And then we'll catch up in a bit.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Hello, come on in. Okay, so when we first met, and you had two main questions. So first was, could we tell you anything about your father's ancestry? And then the second bit was that you were interested in seeing if you could find any sort of half-donor siblings. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the ancestry side of stuff. So we take your DNA, and we are analyzing it against millions of people. And when we did that, and we took away the bits that we knew must come from your mum, that actually gave us a really clear answer. So, your father's DNA is pointing really, really strongly to Northern Ireland.
That is just amazing.
Yeah. Did you have any kind of thoughts as to what? No.
I've never thought that. I just thought he was a student from Leeds. That's all I've ever known. So now, to know he's not, it's just mad.
Yeah.
Mad.
The DNA match is
Yeah.
really concentrated around this area. So South Derry, Londonderry, East Antrim. So we think it's pretty safe to say your dad was Irish.
I wasn't expecting that
Yeah.
at all. At all. Yeah. I can't get over that.
That completely
Yeah.
ties in with the genetic evidence, absolutely.
I can't believe I'm basically half Irish.
Yeah.
That's mind-blowing.
So the other thing that you were kind of interested in was, could you find any donor half siblings? So we helped you get signed up to a number of donor conceived registers, and you've been waiting for information to come back. So it looks like you might have a match. Okay, so that's the email that's come in. This is for you.
We have looked for relationships between you and a donor-conceived individuals, and I've found a link that suggests that you are likely to share a donor with at least one other on the register.
It's exciting.
We will be undertaking some additional tests to help further verify any links, and we will be in contact with you again once those are complete.
Okay, so looking at those results, it sounds like you have a match, but we really need to be absolutely sure, which is why this extra testing is going to be needed. That's a really good start.
Okay, and they're on the register as
They're
well?
on the register. So that's the thing. The registers are only as good as whoever signs up to them.
So if they are, does that mean because they're on it as well, that they're looking as
Probably,
well,
if 2 people have joined, they're looking
or- Yeah.
for donor-conceived siblings. So hopefully, at the end of this, you will have what you were looking for. Hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello.
All right.
Yeah, I'm okay.
How was that?
I can't believe he's Irish. But just the fact it said on it, Northern Ireland, like that, was just amazing to me, just to know where I come from, I suppose.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's your makeup, isn't it? It's,
Yeah.
half of you.
I feel a lot happier just to know where I'm from and to know that there might be somebody there who's looking for me too is a big relief. It's like something's just been answered. Yeah.
The very fact that you've been handed over this information when we know that these registers, not everyone knows they exist. It's wild, really, that we've possibly got this match.
I know. And the fact like they're on the list as well, like on the registry list, means they're sort of looking for me as well. It's just mind-blowing.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Going forward, there's a real possibility that you could meet
Yeah.
your donor sibling.
And it's weird, it's just donor sibling. It's like, I've got loads of more questions. Is it a boy? Is it a girl?
There could be more than one.
Yeah. It's mad.
Are you any more curious? Is there any part of you that wants to find out who your biological father is?
Not really. I feel like I've got my dad. He's done everything for me. So the island thing was just the cherry on top of the cake for me. I'm half Irish. It's just mad.
I'm half Irish.
Are you?
Yeah, best half. Everyone's half Irish when it's Patrick's Day, but we really are.
I love that. I'll be telling everyone that now. Guess
Did you know? You've told us 100 times, Tim.
It's probably the best result I could have, really. It's definitely changed. I don't feel like I'm from a test tube anymore. Just because I know he's a person, he's real, he's there, he's Irish. I suppose I feel a bit more whole now. The fact they're looking as well makes me feel wanted, like they're looking for me too.